Am I recording? I'm still not so sure. I'm recording. Okay, so let me open a new file and use large object millimeter. I will first do whatever that you've seen. I hope you have a memory about it already. I'm just going to use a box to start. So I don't worry about size, but if I like, I would type in at 2000, 3000 in interior design. This is a 3 meter by 2 meter cube. And then another one, I'm going to type in, let's say 100. So yeah, so but this is a giant. This is 3 meter by 2 meter, but just so that you get comfortable with this. So this is just a box, yeah. And I'm going to I'm going to rebuild the surface. So, but you probably would know, probably don't know, if I rebuild the surface, I click on it and I select the thing, it doesn't select. What happened is this is something called the solid. This is like a solid object. It's not a surface. So I escaped that, it failed. So what I needed to do is I need to explode this. So yeah, one more tool, sorry, explode this. So that they become individual surface. So so now I can rebuild. I'm going to use the bottom surface because the top I don't mind. I'm going to use rebuild and build this surface with more control point. I'm going to build this as maybe 20 by 20 and the degree I'm set as 3 and say okay, yeah. So once I'm done, I will pick a couple of points. Turn on control point. I'll pick this one. Press on shift, I believe. Some random one. And another one here. Okay. And go to this other view and drag them down. It's a bit skinny, but you get it, yeah?
Professor, what if we chose all of the control points in one
yeah, I can choose
row?
more control, but because here are 3 skinny legs, yeah? So if you want a bigger leg, okay, you can, let me also teach you something. Maybe I would select the surface. Where is the surface point? No, not point. I want to select, there's too many surfaces. I want to select the surface. Okay, I'm going to hide the surface so that they don't disturb me. Actually, the top surface is what I really needed to hide. There's also this surface. Let me hide this one also. What is this? Yeah, because once you drag, there are actually 2 surfaces, you know. So anyway, what you can also do is, because when I hide is they don't disturb me, so that I can zoom in and let's say I selected this area, all this territory, okay, and then I drag them. Yeah, if that's the case, you got a pretty big leg, but maybe you don't, you get what I mean?
Yeah, can we also, Professor, do it on like a curved surface rather than rectangle?
Curved surface rather than, yeah, you can apply to any surface as long as it doesn't have to be rectangle. I'm not so sure I totally understand your question. You mean if you have a curved surface like you know, in and out, you can also rebuild and drag the control point? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't forget to dragging your control point. This is the magic that helps a lot. And by the way, in case I'm going to show you one tool which would be helpful, which means, you know, here, let's say I want to select all this all together. Yes, I can drag and select, which is pretty easy, but but if I wanted to select, let's say a you know something that's well, if they become in and out and very difficult to, let's say this one is here, this one is here, and some of them they were they were not together, like they were here, you know, or somehow you messed around, they're here, they're there, you know. This is the, you can see the structure of the surface, right? So if that's the case, I still want to select them, they no longer line up. For example, I drag this point, oh, far, but I want to select this whole line, you know, but one of them is far, you know, is already outside. So how do you select them together? Structurally, they are still together. So what you can do is you can select, I believe, any of them. You go to this tool, which is a select. This tool right here, which is a select. And then you expand it on this tool. There was a selection called, and this is called the lasso, yeah. And then you do have to watch this tutorial one more time. And here has a selection by you or selection by we. So which means that no matter where they are, they're lost. Is as if we want to gather all the Chinese together. So yes, there's someone in mainland China, which all the Chinese, but there are here in Hong Kong, or they're in the US, they're in Africa, all over. So, but if you select by ethnic group, oh, that's interesting. Whatever, it's just a different selection. No matter where they are, their location, you can select them by you. So then you realize that you selected even the point that's outside of your selection. Does that make sense? No?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so means if they are, because everything has a U and a V, right? Even the point, when they line up in a line, that means they have the same U. If they vertically line up, they have the same V. But when we are in three-dimensional model, they're not, you know, they're in and out, they're on curvy surface, but they still have it's still defined by U and V, and we can select them by going to this kind of a more elaborate way of selecting things. So I will come back to this whenever is a proper time. Yeah, so I done that. I'm going to move on. I don't need to save this. This is way too easy. So I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to do this little funny guy that you've seen. It's not opening. Ah, I know. Why is it not opening? Because it's the is it still on my, yeah, because it's actually Apple image, that's why it's so just so that you know, in case you haven't seen it, because I posted and it's also in my folder. So if you like, yeah, in this image folder right here, this guy. So I'm going to work on this guy, and I have a recipe which is here. So how do I do it? So as you wish, you can do that as well. Where is sharing? Am I still shared my windows? Are you seeing my Rhino?
Yes.
Okay. So So yes, the recipe. Okay, I pull out my recipe. So analyze on this little guy. Okay. Where is it? So as you can see, I can probably paste this image even as a background bitmap place on desktop. No. Where is it? Let me see, what's this? I think it's not working because this image is not functioning. So so then I won't paste so that you understand. You can go to the folder that yourself. What happened is this guy has maybe I use my front view. This guy has a head that looks like, you know, this is the back of the head. Okay. And if we look at this guy, this is the front of the head.
Professor, can you place the image? Actually, it will be easier to follow.
It will take more time, actually. I'm going to not to do, but I'm just going to do this. This one is nose. Does it make sense? But you can refer to anytime yourself, because I actually needed to somehow convert. So I don't know if anyone has time convert to me and somehow I can use it. You know, it's in the folder. Does it make sense? Yeah? No? You rather me to convert? Yes or no? Is it okay now to convert or do you want me to convert?
Oh, sorry, it's okay.
I didn't hear it.
You didn't, do you, yeah, because it does take time because I rather want to be, but do you see the image, by the way? Let's see the image together. Let's see the image together. So this guy has a nose, yeah? And whatever behind, we assume it to be just something like this. So the head looks like a round shape, but it's sticking out from the front. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it has a two eyeball, which I think is very easy. It's just a round shape, and the little ear has something which I already gave you the recipe. By the way, if you like, you can go and see it now. But here, okay. So the necklace. What's the tool that we would use for the necklace?
Revolve around the sun. Wait a minute. Polar array.
Polar array, yes, okay, thank you. And what tool do you think we would build the ear like this? And then we need to attach the ear to the body, yeah, to the head.
So the blend tool?
Correct, we blend, but we first need the little ear. And some of you did the something almost look like the ear. We just learned. You revolve, yes, revolve. If you see anything 360 degree, that's very that's a click. That might be revolve. Making sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this, whatever the head, we don't know yet. This is a new tool that we have to learn. But the shape of the head, I think we can manage. Yeah, with some very simple shape. Since we have one that really, but by the way, can any of you just teach me how to convert this Mac to something like, I think the worst case is this, yeah? So open, okay, let's not to, are you still seeing my screen?
We only see the image, Professor.
Oh, you only see the image. Okay. So I think, yeah. So yeah, let's not to be bothered. Okay, open. I mean, let's do this anyway. So save as. I would save as JPEG. JPEG can be opened, but otherwise it cannot. Yeah. So now I have a JPEG. Now I'm sharing with you my Windows. No. Okay. It's not. Wait. Little trouble too. So now I have it. Okay, good. Okay, let's place background bitmap. Place. Oh, now I have this one because it's not reading. Okay, so we learned something. Okay, so I don't want to trace so that it's a perfect thing. It doesn't matter because it's more like a creative work. So I'm going to what's the shape of the head? So I tell you we're going to use a two reel sweep, but what shape I will create? You already see the two reels, by the way. Those are the two reels, yeah. What's the shape?
Like a curve or a circle?
A circle, yeah, correct. Yeah. Making sense to you? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me do on a different surface, by the way, on the top view, because I want it to be so sort of correct. It doesn't need to be following it like exactly, because when you do model, you realize. So I'm going to do a two reel sweep. Let the circle following this two reels to create a head. Yeah. Two reel. Select the first one, select second one, and select this. Press enter. Oh, it's a bit too big. That's okay. Or is it just the view? It's a fat guy. Okay, never mind. So you get the idea, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the head. I mean, as we wish. Maybe if it's too much, we do a 1D scale. This guy is a bit too much stretched. Make it a little skinnier. So yeah. So anyway, at any point you can turn on the control point and then modify it as you wish. The nose is a bit too much, and all of this is, but be very careful, because when there's too many points, by the way. So by the way, let me ask you a question. If I feel like I have too many control points, what should I do?
Rebuild.
Correct, rebuild. Yeah, I heard correct, rebuild. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so too many control point is messy. So I rebuild. I make it simpler. So if you wanted to, you can read that there's 96 control point in U direction and 8. 8 is probably okay, or maybe even need more, because that's probably the vertical, but the 96, I would say just make it into 20 will be more than sufficient. So say, okay. So if you read the, but there are two surfaces. One is correct. One is the new one is the old one. I don't know which one is which. That's the old one. And this one is probably the new one. This one is more like a normal distribution of control point. So I don't want this one, I delete this one. Okay, so that's this one. I'm not going to demonstrate all of that. It's all up to you because you know the ear is a revolve. I'm going to create a little revolve under the ear and then place onto it. So the ear will, as we the ear is something like this, a little round shape. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create just a little round shape. Maybe. Okay, so and then I'm going to do a revolve. I need to create a line. And then I'm going to do revolve. Select a curve. And doesn't matter, yeah. So it's sort of like this, but there is a pointy. I don't need this. So I needed to actually trim. It's very easy. As you get familiar with those tools, then you will. So, okay. So I create a line. I'm just going to use a very simple tool called trim. Select object to trim. And that's it. So this now looks like this. Yeah, with the hole. So then I'm going to attach this guy into the head. So I need to see where things are. If I look at this, this needs to be rotated. Yeah, so put it roughly, but don't put it by the way. What's the next two when I try to attach the ear to the head? What's the next two?
Boolean union?
Not a Boolean union, because a Boolean
Is it
union
trim?
is a trim. Yes, a trim, we will use trim because we need to create another hole on the head.
Oh, projecting. Isn't it projecting first?
Yes, you can do project and you can, then you, correct, yes, project. Let's do project, trim, and blend. It's like a three sisters. Project, and then we trim, and then we blend the surface. Does that make sense? To attach. Yeah? Okay, very well. Thank you. So yeah, so we would have to see which direction we're going to project. Actually, this would be the, because we won't use this view to project because it's a round view, because we're looking at the ear from this direction, then we will project from this direction. I'm just going to draw a circle somewhere outside and then move into sort of the view, sort of, you know, it doesn't matter where they are. Actually, you can see this circle is actually inside of the head, but doesn't matter as long as, is this one right here, as long as let's make it sometimes we needed to use wireframe because we need to select better. Okay, so as long as we are looking in the correct direction, it really doesn't matter where they are. So we can actually what I do is by the way, projection is fine, but even sometimes without projection, we can just simply trim. So I will show you, we just simply trim. why did we use the projection? And that was to generate the curve, actually, by the way. Yeah, that was to generate the curve that's on the surface. If we just wanted to cut a hole, we can directly trim. Who is this? Gary, does that make sense to you? Or maybe not? Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'll demonstrate to you. So what I'm going to do is I skip the projection, because the projection is to project whatever fancy in the universe and onto a curvy surface, and then to generate the line on the surface, because we cannot draw on curvy surface, right? So, but if we just want to cut a hole, we can skip the projection. We just use trim. So I'm going to show you, okay, right here. On the front surface, yeah, right here. And then I'm going to use trim. Select the object to trim. I'm going to select the inner one, surface. And press enter. I think I already trimmed. Did I? No? Let's see. No, I did not trim. Okay, probably select the wrong surface. Okay, so let's not select anything. Go to trim, cutting object, which is do diligently. Press enter and select the object to trim, which is the head. Press enter. Did I trim the other side of it? No. I did not manage to trim very well. Ah, I know.
The circle. Is the circle not on the surface?
No, actually, let me check, because trim has something that we need to pay attention, because here is appearance, extend, cutting unit, select yes. This one, appearance, select yes. Maybe I never managed to select the I trimmed off the other side. Wrong one.
Professor,
Uh-huh.
it happened to me, like, I think you should click on the ear. After that, don't, like, just trim inside the ear, like choose the...
I'm going to hide the ear so that I can select the surface. Maybe the ear is overlapping. That's mine.
Yeah.
I hide the ear. Yeah, so trimming shouldn't be too difficult. And sometimes you can select yes and yes, by the way. That's probably better. So that means we can trim anywhere. It doesn't have to be in front of you for trimming. So select the cutting object, press enter when done, and select this. And I will trim both. Yeah, so now I trimmed the two holes. I think maybe because the ear is blocking our trimming. I hope it's still making sense to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So now is this. So now I'm going to demonstrate to you the blend, because the blend, by the way, this two might blend together nicely or may not blend together nicely, depends on the distance. Sometimes you need to have some distance when you try to blend something. It's almost like you going from local road to the highway, and here is a ramp. If the ramp goes so sudden, then the driving would be very, so the ramp need to go smooth. That's why you need the distance. Making sense? You need to have some distance, yeah? So I will blend. Okay, I will select my tool called blend and select the first edge and select the second edge, which you all know now. This one is a bit skinny, well, it's funny, but we can adjust so that you see this actually works. Yeah, just a slider, but if you become much more sophisticated, go ahead and do it. Yeah, so that's this. Okay, then so the rest I'm not going to do, but I will show you how to do the hair. Yeah, we need some kind of comb shape, a comb or some kind of, you know, whatever. So maybe the head is a little bit bigger. So we go and explore which one is easier for a comb. You know, actually around a sphere is not bad because we can stretch the sphere and trim off the bottom one, or we can be quite bothered and then, you know, sort of doing, let me give a little funny. I'm going to create a little bit here, like, so it's not just a head, but you know, whatever. So I'm going to create a curve. Okay, so I'm going to use this curve and to be the hair for the head. I'm roughly matching it. Be careful not to snap to anything actually when you do. I will turn off the O snap. Yeah, because otherwise they go all over the place. Okay, so the hair should be somewhat outside of the head or somewhat encompassing. But there should be some here. For example, this point, I'm going to make it downwards a bit. And some of the point, I'm going to make it upwards a bit. You know, just so that it's kind of like a wavy here. Well, you go and design it. I'm not designing very well. And I'm going to put this guy, this hair above the head or just a little bit. As I wish, I can also rotate this thing so that, or use the center to rotate. So, you know, so that in case I have something that there's a hair, you know, but this hair is not really following the head. It doesn't matter. I'm just using it as a sort of a like as a gesture for now. I actually do not know. I may actually fail. So when I do the comb, I wanted some kind of a curve to follow the hair and maybe do a 360-degree revolve using some kind of a, so the hair is kind of like this, yeah? So there are many ways, as you wish, you can make something rather simple and just create, you know, this as a hair and then, you know, cut off part of it, you know, cut off some of it and trim. Trim is, by the way, very useful. And then this part, and then do a 1D scale, and then, you know, make it longer, so it's sort of like a head. I mean, you can do something like this, it's no problem. As you wish, you can also use this shape to create the edge. Because this, I don't know whether this is this one too big or is this one too small. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, but if we want, we can make it a perfect fitting. But there's a comment that if you actually learned this to generate an edge from your shape. No, where is it? No, this one. No. Generate an edge from a shape. Let's see. Ah, here. Duplicate the face border. So I press, so already duplicated. So I have, because when I created the shape, there's no border, you know, so border already lost. So I generated, you know, you can generate the iso curve and all of that. You can generate a lot of line based on your surface that I already have. So if I use this one, and then if I make a copy of it and put it outside, then it's easy to create some kind of a comb or a ellipse or whatever based on this shape that's already in there. In that case, I need to turn on my O snap, I think. And then you can create something based on ellipse. Is there a center or not? Maybe not recognizing this as ellipse. But anyway, I'm not doing that, not for the precision yet. Yeah. So, okay, here I'm going to make my design. I'm going to say, the hair comes up to here. I make the hair funny. Oh, this one feels like Trump. Anyway, if you like, you can say, this one I adjust a bit. Okay. So, and then I'm going to create a line as a center line. Make revolve. Yeah. Revolve. Following the, no, wait. This is not revolve. Can be revolve, but how do I follow this? I want to make a 360 degree, but following the hair that I just designed already in here. So what would be the two? Because revolve only does a 360 degree. No, one real sweep. Sweeping is a sweeping because whenever you're trying to follow the curve, I believe it's a sweeping. Yeah, some kind of a sweeping. How do we sweep? I leave it to you. Okay, how about someone? Yeah.
We create two rails and one, how can I say? You already did create two rails to, I think, to sweep.
Yeah, but the other reel, I think it's not this. Actually, one reel sweep might do. Let's do a one reel sweep, which I haven't done much. Yeah. So anyway, one reel sweep is this. One reel sweep. Select the reel and select the shape and press enter. It's kind of, yeah. So if I did it correctly, it would be okay, but it's not, yeah. But it's a bit awkward because this one is the size. It's only the size and or how it joins. It's not perfect. I'm going to leave it to you because I'm not going to use this guy as the hair. I'm going to use this one. Yeah. So so I leave it to you how you want to create, or maybe even extrusion along the path, or there are various tools, or just simply drag so that you have a decent a surface. All of that, I leave it to you. How good are we for now? Thumb up if you are still with me.
Professor, I had a question. In your formula, you said that the head shape in the image, the circular one, can be used with morphing. How do you use the morphing tool?
In my link?
No, in the
Oh,
formula.
Yeah. I'm going to show you how to morph. Yeah, now at this moment. Yes. So we leave this funny head in there, and you go ahead and think about it. If you are advanced, the question I posted, you should be able to solve. Yeah, because if I try to solve it, take too much time, so I leave it. So anyway, so morphing I'm going to show you, which goes to the next project called the flow. FLOW, flow. So what flow does is there is a base shape of this. Yeah, the base head, the base surface. The base surface of the head. Yeah, there's a base one, but then there's a little nuances, a little balls on it. So when you think about the surface, you first think about what is the bulk of the surface without all the detail. That's how you think about things. For example, the contour, you don't think about the contour. You analyze the shape first and then you apply contour. Making sense? So for this one, those little balls, we will design them flat and then we will use the flow to apply something that's actually flat onto a curvy surface. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to unwrap, imagine those little balls, they're like little balls, you know, without this cone shape, they can be laid flat, yeah? And then we will wrap them around onto a curvy surface. So it's called the flow.
So isn't it the tool called flow along the surface?
Yes, the flow along surface, actually, flow along
Because
surface.
I actually used it for like the studio work. We were supposed to use Rhino, and I actually used that tool, and it was so helpful.
Yes.
Like you create the surface, and then you kind of just project it onto it, and then like mold it accordingly.
Yes.
It's very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. So then look the magic, because if you look at this, there's more tools that I don't have a time to introduce to you today. As you can see, it's not just a simple bow, you know, because we can create a surface, we can put little bows and trim off the half, but there's a little bit, when they join together, they join with some kind of a curviness. This has to be done with mesh, which I'm going to post a lecture because onto it. As you wish, you can learn a little bit about mesh. So what I'm going to do is a very simple surface, flat, and then I do some bow. I do one on it. I do a matrix so it's populated and trim off the whatever. I'm going to do an easier version. If you want all this smooth transition, you will look at the lecture called mesh. Yeah. So later on, if I have time, I will do it with this class. If I don't have time, then would be something you want to learn to yourself in the future. Okay, so here is my simple surface. Okay, and I'm going to draw a bow onto it, and without thinking about the size. One little one, yeah. And then I'm going to do my best. It won't be very, very precise, by the way, because I'm not teaching you how to precisely matching something, but if you want precisely, you would go to the lecture. And then I'm going to use the matrix to say X has 7, Y has 5, Z has 1, okay, press enter, and that. Oh, you know what? I should trim before I multiply, but actually, it's okay to trim even. So let's trim. Select the surface to trim. Press enter, and basically, this is very much like AutoCAD. It will trim. So if you don't want to be bothered with all this trimming, you should probably trim before before multiply, in case you have you could make the shape perfect and then you multiply. Making sense? Yeah. So
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to group this thing together as one thing so that they don't fall apart. Yeah. And the surface is still in there. Okay. So good. So I'm going to do flow, type in flow, or when you type in flow, you have a flow along surface or flow. Actually, it's two different comments, but I feel like a flow along surface is more useful. Flow, as you wish, go and learn it. Flow along surface, which means select object to flow, which is all of this here. Well, are they selecting as a group? If not, I will have to select all of them together. Okay, and select a base surface, the base. Okay, when you see it, the base is this rectangular. That's the base. That's where we created as the base. But then we wanted all of this little cups, to be applied to the cone shape. So here is our target. Yeah, so what happened is, it's a bit scary. Let's see what's going on.
Professor, I think the circles need to be close together, almost like interlinked. Because when you
Yeah. Because I
mold
think
it
when
accordingly, it stretches it out. It stretches the shapes out.
Yeah. We can delete the extra, trim the extra, because what happened is when I flow, although I trim the surface, it does not recognize as a trim the surface. It still has the original structure to it. For example, if I turn on the control point, so you see the control point is still at the bottom. So what you might need to do is make a copy of this one, maybe, and yeah, I'm not so sure. I actually did understand. Goa, could you repeat your comment again? I'm a bit lost. What's your comment? Gary, sorry, Gary.
Yeah, I think the circles, you know, when we're doing the layering the sheet, I think the circles need to be closer together.
Actually
separated, because when you float along the surface, it stretches it out, giving the gaps. So I think the circles need to be close together.
Oh, okay. That's actually not my problem. My problem is when I apply, I want to apply to this shape, not the original shape without trimming. Did you see? This actually applied to the original shape without the trimming.
Okay.
Yeah, but the reality is even this shape is trimmed. This is whatever Rhino is. The original structure is still the same. If I turn on the control point, you realize the original structure hasn't changed of this shape. So maybe I rebuild and make give a different structure. I think I can say okay. So now this shape, two shape looks pretty much the same. However, the structure are different. Okay, so the original shape remain the old structure, but new shape has a different structure. I don't know. Does it make sense to you? The original shape has a little bit extra, and this one also have the extra. So anyway, although they are actually different shape, this is interesting. That this may actually affect so both shape has remained whatever control point that we don't want at the bottom. So okay, so here if I turn on the control point, let's delete some of the extra and see whether it would work or not. It doesn't delete. Okay, so no problem. Whatever, there has to be some solution. At the moment, I do not exactly know. There are things that maybe in my mind I forgot already. But let's try this. But let's say when we apply, you are right. We need more. We need a smaller distance and more hair because they're a bit too spread out. That's another problem. Okay, so delete and do another array so that there's a bit more to it. I agree. So this one I put a 10. This one I put 7. Well, they're a little bit too close now, but it's okay. We'll just use them. Doesn't matter, yeah. And there's one extra line. Delete. Anyway, I will select all of them and group them. I think it should work. Group. Yeah. Okay. So so now I'm going to apply my new this one. Oh, there has to be a group. Was there a group? I think there is a group in it. Ah, where? There's all of them are called the surface. Then where is my group? The group is. Okay, I don't bother about now, so I can always select them together. So okay, so where am I? Flow. Okay, flow again. So there are two. One is flow along surface. Let me ask. So the one I ask is going to hate me. Okay, I don't ask your name. So someone volunteer. What's the next? What should I select? The flow or flow along surface? And not the two that's showing your face, but someone doesn't show your face. Do I use the flow or do I use the flow along surface?
Flow along the surface, so it can follow the surface.
Yeah. Who else agree?
I agree with her.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. So let me do. Okay, flow. Sorry. Type in flow and what I might doing. Okay, type in flow and see the other option. Yeah, flow along surface. And select object to flow, which is all of this. Yeah. And press enter. Select a base surface, which is the base. Select the target, which this time I select this different target and see the distribution of, it's actually quite different. Because, it's also inside of this. This is wrong, yeah? Because it's inside rather than outside. So when you, so that's why flow along surface can create some how do I say, frustration, because you actually do need to know quite a bit, because a surface has a direction. It's like, I'm wearing my shirt this way, yeah. So it has nice patterns, but if one day I rush and I forgot I wear the wrong way, so surface has a direction, yeah. So that's, sometimes you flip the surface and you need to work with the surface and direction of the surface. Does that make sense? Just, we will get into the details later, but does that make sense for you now? Surface has directions, yeah. So I would, so in this case, let me select this corner. Maybe this corner is better. And I will select this surface for now. No, sorry. Maybe but no, I don't want that, sorry. Okay. Object to flow. It's only this, nothing else. Press enter, select base surface, which is my square, rectangular. Now you don't need to press enter. People tend to press enter, no. Then press the target surface. Flow, yeah, so this time it actually somehow flowed like this, but I don't need all of that. I'm going to need to delete some of them, or actually simply trim. I'm just going to simply trim. I will say, okay, I don't want anything below this line. I'm going to trim it. And it's also not correct that there's a gaps, but I can come back to teach you about the gaps. Select this one and select this, all of them. This one, press enter and this I don't know. I do not need to just delete. So, okay, here comes to this one, is still not perfect. It's still stretching and stretching and with a gap in between. So Gary, you learned about the lecture. So what do you think about the gap here?
When I was working with the tool, that's something I was still trying to figure out because it's not as simple. Because the thing is, it stretches out, and I'm still trying to figure out how to not make it stretch out.
Yeah. Yeah, so that
We
has
need to add more balls.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, also has something to do with the structure of the surface, because the surface is controlled by, it's not only the shape, but also the distribution of your control point. You know, if they look like this two control point is this distance, and then the control point has less distance. So here, when your flow is condensed and there is a more stretch. Making sense?
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. Because I was trying to flow it along the surface, and one side had a lot of control points, so it was more saturated there, and then it was more stretched out in places without that many control points.
Yeah. So now I'm not going to finish the whole thing. I'm just going to conclude my lecture for now. And I'll let you to play a bit, because I think you needed to study and learn and to understand. There are other ways to do the base surface, or maybe I will use this. You know, this actually called the parabolic. This is probably a better way of creating the head rather than the other one. So this one is created like a head anyway, you know. So so instead of what I did before, I forgot maybe to trim a so I'm not going to finish the whole thing. We'll see all of this. And one thing to point out before we go, you know, here, because the original shape when you designed has a gaps, so they're not full. They're not full until to the edge. That's why when you applied to the target surface, when you wrap around, you will see the gap right here. It's because this gap basically refers to whatever that's on the edge of your original shape. I hope it's making sense. Yeah. So that's why wrapping around design the Doa. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, if we want to avoid the gap between the base edge and the surface, do we draw the base along the edge of the circle?
Yeah, correct. You actually, what you do is this base surface should be somewhat, here. So you trim off, excuse me, you trim off the extra, whatever, be a little bit more precision. You trim off the extra so that you trim off whatever is hanging over the edge, because they tend to be really distorted, and you will do for the same thing. So what happened is, this is a match of pattern. I think in, you know, a graphic designer and or all of that, this is called the seamless pattern, which means whatever happening here, it would match on this edge. So when they wrap around, they are the same. Does it make sense?
If we want to make sure they match, do we measure the diameter of the circle, or we just estimate?
Well, in reality, you should measure, actually, especially comes to, let's say, Islamic pattern, you know, a little bit off is not going to match. It's going to be like this, you know, they needed to be perfectly matching. Whatever that's not on this side has to be appear on the other side. Yeah. But for now, I think we can be a little bit more flexible with what we can do. Okay, so I'm going to stop my recording.